Cool. This is Sean Holloran, and I'm interviewing the world-famous Fayad. Fayad, how you doing today, man?
All right. Cool, man. I'm straight.
Cool. All right, man. Well, I guess this is an interview about you and what you're all about, so let's begin at the beginning. Where are you from, and where's your background coming from?
I'm from L.A. Born and raised in L.A. You know what I'm saying?
Cool.
Family's from Texas, so
Right.
I got the little Texas values and all that. But basically, I'm from L.A.
All right, cool. What part of LA are you from? What neighborhood?
All my life, I've been in the Crenshaw district. Different places, but it's all basically within the Crenshaw district.
Cool.
You know what I'm saying? So, for people that don't know, South Central, Crenshaw district is part of South Central. It's on the, nearing the end of it, of the west side of it. You know what I'm saying? But,
Cool.
basically around that area.
So, how's it growing up in that neighborhood, and how's that influenced you?
Basically, 'cause my parents, when I was maybe like 3 or 4, because it was just basically when the whole gang problem was starting to come about, and I have 2 older brothers. So my parents moved me to a better area of it, so we weren't right in the center of it.
Right.
But all of my, I used to go there for daycare and everything, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, basically you cross a certain line. Where I lived was like in a very nice area, but you go across the street and you're in the midst of, BPS hood, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I have friends and family down there, and I have friends and family, up on the good side. So I was back and forth. So it's like, it's just the way my family raised me. My mother, was a daughter of a preacher, minister, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of my uncles were ministers. It's like I had a lot of that in my upbringing. So I never really got into any of the, criminality side of, of the streets or whatever. But it's like, I was around cats, and it's like I understood a lot of stuff. So I've always been a type of person that would sit back and examine, you know what I'm saying? Just look at what's going on and see, and take it in and be able to express it, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
So you're talking about your mother and her background, her family background in preaching and stuff like that. Is that where music first came into your life, in the church? Or
no,
where did music first come into your life?
Because even though, I never really went to church that much as a child. It was just the values that she instilled. The music came into it, not really when I was young. Maybe when I was like 12 or 13, I started really getting more into music. My brother was in a band, you know what I'm saying? My brother's maybe like 6 or 7 years older than me. And he was in a band, and I started, seeing him performing and everything. Right. And, I started paying attention to records more, because I had always listened to music, and I got into, like, breakdancing and all of that when I was young, but it's like I never paid attention to, all the different instruments. And around the time when I was, like, 12 or 13, I started paying attention to how everything was broken down, and, the drums and the bass and piano, and started to try to figure everything out,
So were those instruments that you started with, the drums, piano, and bass?
I basically started with drums. My mother got me a little drum machine from this teacher she used to work with.
Cool.
He was a musician, When I was 14, she gave me this little drum machine. I started working with that. Cool. Definitely.
Cool. So we were talking about, you said about 12 or 13 years old, you had an older brother in the band.
Right.
And you started playing, your mother bought you a drum machine, and that's how it really got started for you with music.
Definitely.
Cool. So, that's when music became part of your life. Is that also when hip-hop became part of your life, around the same age?
Nah, because I was into hip-hop a little earlier than that, a few years earlier than that.
Right, you said B-boy or something.
Right, one of my brothers was in a band. My oldest brother was a DJ, you know what I'm saying? So, I remember, like, Sugar Hill Gang and all of that. That's when I really got introduced to it. And plus, out here, like, on the West Coast, it was a lot of, like, Pac Jam and, a lot of electro-funk type stuff. Right. That's what my brother was playing, and I used to hear him up in his room playing stuff, you know what I'm saying? And that's when I was introduced to hip-hop. And plus, just from seeing, it was a show, I forget what it's called. I think it was like something up hip-hop rock or something like that. It was a show, it came on one time, and Run DMC was on there. It was kind of like a Soul Train, show. And I guess it was like a pilot. And I remember seeing that, being at my friend's house and being like, I saw cats breakdancing, and I was like, yeah, that's what I want to do. So from there, I started, trying to find out about breakdancing, and then like breaking and Beat Street and all of that came out. you know, and it was like, you know, that whole little movement happened, you know, as far as in LA. So from there, I mean, it was, you know, that was maybe a few years prior to before I started trying to work with the music, you know.
Okay.
But yeah, I tried my little, you know, dancing
B-boy
situation.
and
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
You ever
Definitely.
go out and to Hollywood Boulevard or anything like that?
I never went up to Hollywood or anything. I went to the beach a couple times,
Oh,
you know,
right.
but
Nice.
yeah. But I never really got too deep into it. I just always kept it on, you know, on the low. But it was like, plus I was really, from a real young age, I was really into art, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So the whole aspect of graffiti and all of that,
Okay.
that was a big, you know, I tried to do everything within it, you know what I'm saying?
Cool.
So the whole graffiti part of it was another big thing,
Cool.
you know
So,
what I'm saying?
so you're a B-boy and you were doing graft. You ever
Right.
get into D-Chin or...
Yeah. I mean, I tried my hand at everything,
Oh,
you know
right.
what I'm saying? But since I didn't have access to really dope turntables, you know,
Right.
you know, I got my drum machine before I got a good
I hear you.
turntable. So it was like more so, you know, because I started MCing also. Really,
Right. Oh, for
if
real?
when I think about it, I mean that came before me even working on beats. That's why I started
Okay.
doing beats, because I started MCing, you
Makes
know.
sense.
So I got a drum machine and started doing my own beats. But I was like real young, you know what I'm saying, like
Yeah.
14.
I hear you.
So it was like it wasn't the dopest material, but you know I was just
Yeah.
trying, you know what I'm saying.
Being creative doesn't really matter.
Exactly.
Cool. So I mean, how did that go from 14 years old to working with Exhibit? I mean, when did that all come about?
Man, I mean, I feel like, I mean, I'm blessed. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that. You know, my whole life has been blessed. You know what I'm saying? I'm here for a purpose. You know what I'm saying? I'm a very spiritual person. So once I decide to get into music, I just put my whole focus towards that. You know what I'm saying? And it's not really just music. It's just creativity. You know what I'm saying? In general.
Right.
But at that point, when I decided, okay, I'm gonna pour most of it into music, you know, the musical aspect. It's like once I figure something out, I just stick with it and do it. And it's like, I mean, I ended up going to a music academy, music school.
Nice.
You know, when I was like 15. By the time I was 16, I linked up with this cat named Sir, and I had my first demo deal with Sony when I was like 16, 17. You know what I'm saying, with Columbia Records. And from there, I just started meeting a gang of people. You know what I'm saying. And over the years, I just, you know, constantly made different connections. I guess, you know, I just have, what I do, it's like I'm able to see, you know, how, to me, I feel like I can see how certain things should sound. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel like I'm the best musician, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. I just feel like I can look at something and be like, all right, it should be like this, and put this here, put this there. You know what I'm saying? I'm hands-on with my beats, for sure, but at the same time, it's mostly like a conceptual thing for me. You know what I'm saying? I could visualize things. So it's like, I feel like from day one, I've always had a concept of how things should be, and I think people kind of gravitated towards that, and it put me in a good position. You know what I'm saying? So I've always come in contact with people that had things going on. And so I linked up with Exhibit like in maybe like 94 through this cat named Broadway and King T. King T was the founder of the Liquid Crew. You know what I'm saying? And I did a song for King T's album, which was called Freestyle Ghetto, and it was the first song that Exhibit was on also. You know what I'm saying? That's the first time they were bringing him out as an MC from the Liquid Crew. So it was Exhibit and Breeze, King T, and J-Ro and Tash from the Alcoholics.
Okay.
So that was like the first cut that I did. You know, this was in 94. So, and from there, the cats at Loud heard that, and they wanted me to, you know, work on Exhibit's album. And so we brought forth that whole sound with Paparazzi and all that. It was like basically a continuation of the sound from the King T album. You know what I'm saying? Freestyle Ghetto.
Right.
Turned it into Paparazzi. Just took it a step further. You know what I'm saying?
Cool.
Definitely.
So that was back in '94, and
Yeah.
with Exhibit and stuff like that. From '94 until now you're working with Lloyd Banks and stuff like that.
Right.
Doing this work with 50 now, possibly. You know, from there till now, what's the evolution? What's the process?
Well, it's the thing is, it's kind of hard being from LA because you got the whole, you know, Dre is the main cat out here. You know what I'm saying? Much respect to Dre, you know, and it's like he's like the dopest producer in the game. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I know a lot of people in LA on the so-called underground, or you know, just basically that's been bubbling for years.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? But it's really hard to get something going totally unless you fall in line with, you know, the main camp out here. You know what I'm saying? So it's like from doing paparazzi for Exhibit, which was really big at, you know, overseas, especially in '96 is when it came out. I went overseas, you know what I'm saying, to work on some stuff, you know, because over there it was like a totally different situation than here. You know, it was seen as an underground record here. I mean, it got him some exposure, you know, to lead him to where he is today. But it was a better situation for me to do work over there at the time, you know what I'm saying? And back when it came out, I mean, '96, that's when, you know, King T was on Aftermath, on Dre's label. And that's when Dre first hollered at X. You know, he wanted to holler at me too. But it's like, me being a producer, you know, I was like, you know, that's not really my thing, you know what I'm saying? So X, you know, made his decision, you know what I'm saying, to try to, you know, better his career or whatever, and I had to do what I had to do. So, you know, basically I was on the next couple albums, you know what I'm saying? And when X really cracked with Restless, I got a joint on there. He looked out for me, you know what I'm saying? The joint that I had on there, you know, was a Kenny Parker show, 2001, which anybody could have done that, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like he looked out for me because he knew that album was going to be dope, because basically Dre was executive producing it. So I hopped on there, and that was my first, you know, basically platinum, you know what I'm saying, plat that I got from that. And that's parlayed me into a deal with Sony. It's a lot of politics, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people, you know, because people will be like, you have beats, you know, people know me for years, like I have beats. But until you have something that, you know, gets the visibility, you know what I'm saying, to where people in the industry will be like, oh, okay, you're on this or whatever. You know, so from me doing that Restless thing, I was able to get a publishing deal with Sony, and from there, you know, that led on to what I'm doing now, basically. You know what I'm saying? Definitely.
Cool. So that publishing deal with Sony. You know, you mentioned the Liquid Crew and the underground, how, you know, it's all these underground cats here, but the main camp is Dre, and I guess you got Snoop down in, you know, Long Beach and stuff like that, doing big things. But, I mean, what does the underground, you know, mean to you? I mean, coming from L.A. and having started there and seeing guys like Exhibit and come up with guys like Exhibit. I mean, what's it mean to you, underground?
Basically, underground is, to me, underground is the foundation of hip-hop, you know what I'm saying? Underground in the sense that it hasn't been exposed to everybody else. Like, there was a time, I think, when people felt like underground was a certain sound, but I think hip-hop has evolved to the point where we could look at it and really see that underground just means whatever your sound is, you know what I'm saying? You could be bling-blinging or you could be backpack type. As long as it's not, you know, it's not overexposed, then it's underground, you know what I'm saying? Because you got gangster underground, you know, you got righteous underground, you know what I'm saying? So, but in the sense of, you know, a few years ago, underground to me was basically what I was from, and it meant like a certain hip-hop lifestyle, you know what I'm saying, which is basically East Coast aesthetic to me, you know what I'm saying, and it translates, you know, worldwide. But
how so?
I mean, I feel like, I mean, for me coming up in hip-hop, I just always felt like you had cats like, you know, like the Jungle Brothers and De La Soul, and you know what I'm saying, and Tribe Called Quest, exactly, and things like that, which led, you know, to a certain aesthetic that people adopted, and that became sort of an underground culture, especially here in LA, because it was so much of a, you know, the gangster thing cracking, you know what I'm saying. So for us, you know, the whole positive lifestyle, that was like an underground type culture, you know what I'm saying. And my whole thing comes from like clubs like Unity, Nikibalan, and all those, you know, United Nations back in the day. It was like, you know, cats used to dance and everything, and it was like that was an underground culture as far as LA is concerned. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I know it still exists, but I'm not necessarily a part of that anymore because of the way that, you know, me and the people that I've been with for years, you know, we've kind of moved to a different space.
During Good Life Cafe and stuff like that.
Right, exactly. I remember I went to the Good Life when it first opened up, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, you know, I was never really a part of that whole scene, but I was a part of, you know, still an underground scene. It was just more, I guess, a in-between type of thing, you know what I'm saying? Because I always saw it like, you know, you had your NWAs, your Dre, your Cube here, and Snoop, you know what I'm saying? Then you had like the Liquid Crew, which is like the medium line, you know what I'm saying? And then you had the straight, you know, like ACs, and much respect to all of the, you know, the cats that really had skills, you know what I'm saying? You know, right here, and it's like, you know, I was here, you know what I'm saying, and I used to always be like, you know, such and such stuff, you know, it's Hollywood or whatever stuff, whatever, but then you start to see, like, you know, music is music, you know what I'm saying, and the industry aspect of it is something totally different, and a producer's job is to make a record, you know what I'm saying, regardless, you know, whatever, the job of a producer is to make a record, and you want to make a hit record, you know what I'm saying, so, you know, you just start to, I just wanted to do that, you know what I'm saying, I don't want my stuff to just be, you know, heard by a few people, I want it to be heard by as many people as possible.
Distribution.
Exactly, so.
I hear you. So why do you do this? Why are you a producer?
Because I enjoy it, you know what I'm saying, I like making records, you know what I mean, I went to film school and all of that, you know what I'm saying, I want to make movies, you know, but it's like right now, I mean, I see movies and records the same way, you know what I'm saying, so it's like, it's easier for me to make records right now, so that's what I'm doing basically. I mean, really, it's easy to make movies now too, it's just that I was out of the loop for so long, you know what I'm saying, I know the technology is so advanced now that you can go out and do it. It's just right now I'm stuck in the record making mode.
You've got
you know
the momentum going in the record making mode.
Exactly.
So yeah, you went to school for film. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
So what brought that about? It's just being creative in a different light.
Yeah, I mean that's been my whole goal since day one to make entertainment, to make, you know what I'm saying, make stories, whether it be, you know, on film or, you know, on a record, you know what I'm saying. Cool. However, pictures, you know, just to bring that to light, you know what I'm saying.
Word. Steve, man. So who do you think are the best producers in hip hop today?
I think it's a lot of good producers in hip hop today. I mean, I think, you know, like I said, Dre is definitely one of the best. You know, everybody that's getting shine, I feel like deserves to shine, like Dre, Timberland, of course the Neptunes. You know what I'm saying? I feel like the Neptunes are really dope producers. You know what I'm saying? And what a lot of people don't understand is that, you know, a lot, especially with hip hop, is we get the confusion. There's a confusion between a producer and a beat maker. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, you know, people that make beats, you know, that's a whole nother thing. You know what I'm saying? And a producer. So it's like now I understand and I give respect to cats that don't necessarily make beats, but they know how to make a record. You know what I'm saying? So I come from a beat making standpoint, but I've learned over the years, you know, that I want, you know, how to make a record. Exactly. So I feel as far as, you know, dope beat makers, I like cats like JD. You know what I'm saying? I think JD's a dope producer too. I mean, don't get me twisted. But I feel like JD's beats are doper than, you know, like Dre beats or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, I look at it, you know, kind of separated like that. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like there's a lot of cats with dope beats, you know what I'm saying, who may not have hit records, but they have like some of the dopest beats, you know. And again, like JD, I mean, High Tech is a dope producer. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of cats. It's so many cats. Jelly Roll is dope. You know what I'm saying? Cool. It's so many cats right now.
What about Kanye?
Oh, Kanye is nice. I mean, I respect Kanye because I feel like he comes from the same, you know, era that I come from, you know. And it's good to see a brother, you know, doing his thing and just making it happen without having to necessarily change up too much. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad that people hear it and respect it as good music. You know.
Cool. Have you ever thought about coming back and MCing over some of your own beats?
Oh yeah. I'm definitely doing that. I got, you know, a project I'm working on right now. It's gonna be me, but it's more so, you know, I'm gonna have other MCs on there also. You know.
Okay. Cool.
Definitely.
What do you think of the whole, you know, the whole producer MC thing on Andre 3000, Kanye? Seems to be like a growing trend in hip hop. Like.
Right. I mean, I feel like most producers were either MCs or DJs, you know what I'm saying, before. Like, nobody, I don't think there's anybody that just, I mean, anybody that's dope just comes in the game just like, oh, I'm just going to be a producer, and they've never tried any other aspect of it, you know what I'm saying? Especially when you're making beats, a lot of times you're hearing a flow on it, you know what I'm saying? You know how you want it to go, so it's just taking that extra step and putting the words in there, you know what I'm saying? It's like you're around MCs so much. If you weren't an MC before, it's easy to pick it up, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I feel like, you know, that's just a natural progression, you know what I'm saying? To go from being an MC to a producer, or from a DJ to a producer, you know what I'm saying?
So who do you want to work with now?
I feel like there's a few people that, you know, I haven't worked with that I would want to work with, you know what I'm saying? I'm down to work with anybody, you know what I'm saying? But who I would want to work with, I mean, I want to work with not necessarily even hip-hop cats, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I would love to do something with like Stevie or like Prince or somebody like that, you know what I'm saying? Right. But that's a whole other issue. But definitely Jay-Z, I don't know if you know what I'm saying, if he's really gone or not. You know, that was one thing that I would like to do, you know what I'm saying? I respect him as an MC. But I feel like, I mean, most def, I respect him as an MC, you know what I'm saying? I did a joint with Talib, you know, so it's like, you know, I feel like I'm pretty cool right now, you know what I'm saying? I just really want to get the people that I know from LA, you know what I'm saying, that are bubbling under, you know what I'm saying, to shine. So it's like I'm working with everybody that I want to work with right now, basically, you know what I'm saying?
Right. I mean, aside from all the guys like Mos Def and the moguls, you know, the big cats,
right,
you know? I mean, the people that, you know, like you said, came up in the underground, Liquid Crew and stuff like that. Who are some of the people that you'd like to, you know, bring up with you, or come up now? You'd like to see come up?
Oh, who I would like to see come up? I mean, it's Feel the Ag, you know what I'm saying? Feel the Agony, Cron Don, you know, they got the Strong Arm Steady joint with Exhibit, you know, so they got a little group. So hopefully that'll get them more shine. They got it with Mitchie Slick, it's tight too. My man Major, you know what I'm saying? He had a single out maybe like last year or year before last, you know. Okay. But he's just, you know, just hustling, just grinding, you know what I'm saying? I feel like he's one of the dopest MCs from LA. This cat E-Rule is one of the dopest MCs from LA. I feel he didn't really get his shine, you know what I'm saying? It's a bunch of people, my man Tri-State, you know what I'm saying? This cat from LA. It's a bunch of people that have a, you know, a little name, you know what I'm saying, within certain circles, but, you know, they just need to break through that glass ceiling, you know what I'm saying? So hopefully that'll happen, you know what I'm saying?
Get the big push.
Yeah.
PR,
trying to do something with like Cam too, you know what I'm saying? I feel like Cam never got his shine, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a bunch of cats that.
That's very true. So, where do you see your career going from here?
Hopefully just keep rising, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Trying to do more work, you know, because it's like, it's cool that I have, you know, 1 or 2 cuts with, you know, that's out right now, but it's like, I'm trying to like have like 50 joints out, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, trying to just keep that going, just keep doing as much as possible, and hopefully have as much release, you know what I'm saying, and get a push behind me, you know what I mean?
So it's a goal to be, you know, the next Timbaland, the next Kanye.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Right.
For sure.
Cool.
For the West, you know, because nobody stepped up really, you know.
Yeah.
Dre's the man, so hopefully I could be the next cat to step up from the West. But it's a lot of cats out here doing good work, you know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like, you know, we got a little movement, you know, hopefully trying to make it happen where it's like, I feel like we could all do it, you know what I mean? And it's like, I feel like now it's these cats called Sa-Ra, you know what I'm saying? Sa-Ra Collective Partners. You know, it's a crew of producers, you know, like 3 or 4 cats. It's like they got some heat from LA. Those are my people. My man Khalil, you know what I'm saying? He had to join on the G-Unit album. He has a lot of stuff about to drop. So it's a bunch of producers, bunch of us out here that's been doing it for a minute, and we're like trying to get a movement going. You know what I'm saying? To where we have a lot of product coming out. You know what I'm saying? Get that visibility. You know.
So, how are you changing the music game?
I feel like, in all actuality, for one, I feel like I already changed it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Being that, I feel like when this is my main thing. You know what I'm saying? What I'm trying to bring forth, and the way that my career is going, what I'm about to drop this year, I'm about to really let it be known how I feel. And I'm gonna tell you right now. Basically, I feel like I already changed it to the degree that West Coast, so-called West Coast hip hop, you know, before Exhibit, I feel, before what we did with like Paparazzi, you know what I'm saying, and even before that with Freestyle Ghetto, and I don't think people really ever heard Freestyle Ghetto that much, you know what I'm saying. I think it needs to be heard, but I feel like we changed the image or the sound of what people perceive as West Coast music, you know what I'm saying. Because before that, true, you had, you know, the whole G-Funk thing, and then you had like Far Side and all of that came out, you know what I'm saying, which is a different thing. But I feel like what we did was we showed that you know, that middle ground, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like as a producer, as far as, you know, what I did as far as bringing the orchestra, you know what I'm saying, combining, you know, orchestra and like opera, you know what I'm saying, with hip-hop beats, I feel like it influenced a lot of people. And I feel like right now, I mean, even Dre stuff to a certain degree, you know what I'm saying, took on that role, that persona of, okay, reaching out, not just using synthesizers, you know what I'm saying, but reaching out and using strings and horns, you know what I'm saying, and all of that, you know, including all of that into the production and making it bigger to where it sounds like a movie soundtrack or something like that. You know what I'm saying? I feel like, you know, we already changed it, you know, influenced it to that degree. I feel like I was one of the pioneers of that, you know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of cats that have come up, you know, using that formula to make beats, you know what I'm saying? So my main thing now is trying to take it even a step further, and I feel like, you know, I'm about to be at the position where I can do that, you know what I'm saying? My whole thing now is like basically seeing things as sound design, you know what I'm saying? Seeing it like I'm really doing a movie, you know what I'm saying, soundtrack, you know, on a big level, you know what I'm saying? And designing sound specifically for one record, you know what I'm saying, for a certain record, you know. So that's my main thing now. It's gonna be tricky, but you know, hopefully I'll be able to do it again, you know what I'm saying? So that's my main focus.
Soon to come. Looking back, who have been the most influential people in your life?
In my life?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely my parents, you know, my mother and my father, you know what I'm saying? My whole family, basically, you know. Yeah, basically that, you know. I mean,
as far as like the business game goes then?
Business, honestly, I've really been always like a lone wolf type of cat, you know what I'm saying? I've never really had a manager. I've had managers off and on, you know what I'm saying? My man Colin Gale has helped me out a lot, you know what I'm saying? And my attorney, you know, he's helped me out a lot. But
as an artist?
Not as an artist. As an artist, I looked up to cats like Stevie and Prince, like I was saying, you know, Michael Jackson definitely. There's a lot of people that I respect, you know, and KRS-One has definitely, you know, influenced me a lot, you know what I'm saying? But I've just always really wanted to try to be a leader, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, I take bits and pieces, you know, and it's like I use what I use, you know what I'm saying, and try to make it my own, you know what I'm saying? Definitely.
So, were you ever a DJ?
I wouldn't say that I was a DJ, you know what I'm saying? I have DJed before, you know what I'm saying? But no, I never really focused on being a DJ, so I would never claim to be a DJ, you know what I'm saying? I never really, I practiced, you know, a little bit, but I never really put as much time into it as like, you know, cats like Qbert and, you know, Cut Kimmich and cats like that, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I was more of an MC, you know what I'm saying? I was really an MC. That's how I got into the whole thing. So, you know, I never really spent that much time on the DJ side of it.
Right. How do you see hip-hop evolving over the next few years? It seems to be changing a lot right now.
Yeah. Hopefully a lot of the respect for the, you know, like true, just, you know, just MCs rhyming on beats, you know, comes back. And it doesn't have to be necessarily totally thugged out or, you know what I'm saying? Or all about money. You know, hopefully people start listening to different types of hip-hop, because hip-hop is, you know, within everything, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like all the elements have to be, you know, represented. So hopefully people start listening to more, and it's good. That's why I like Kanye's joint, because it, you know, it's not necessarily just a thug record, but it's doing good, you know, in the market right now. So hopefully people start, you know, listening like Talib and all of that. Hopefully his records, you know, sell.
So I guess a last great question would be, in your opinion, what's the greatest album of all time?
The greatest album of all time?
Yeah.
That's a hard question.
I'll name a few then.
Oh, man. I would say Stevie, Songs in the Key of Life. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the greatest joints of all time, I feel. Just all around. I mean, the Beatles. I mean, it's like so many dope albums. You know what I'm saying? It's really hard to say. I mean, because I really enjoy music. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But as far as a personal favorite, I couldn't even say a personal favorite.
If you had to pick one album, you only had 30 minutes left, and you had to listen to one.
Yeah.
What would it be?
Yeah. Probably the Prince For You. Prince For You.
Cool, man.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite joints of all time.
All right, man. Well, I'm all out of questions, but I'll give you the opportunity to say anything else you want to say.
It's all good, man. Hopefully this time next year, you'll be hearing more of my work. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Trying to get this these joints on Exhibit's Weapons of Mass Destruction album. Already dropped 2. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully trying to get more on there. But
Yes.
it's definitely gonna be a hot album. It should be out, this summer. And trying to do more work with the G Unit cats. You know what I'm saying? Trying to keep that going. And got my projects coming. Sometime soon, hopefully this year. I'm doing 2 projects. I'm gonna do a joint where it's gonna be all of my work, which never really got a chance to come out, which is gonna represent an era in LA between like 94, and 99.
Nice.
That whole scene that was cracking, all the stuff that I did that a lot of people didn't get a chance to hear.
Right.
And then I'm doing a whole new project with all of the MCs that's just bubbling under right now.
Perfect.
For sure.
All right. Thank you, Fayad. More soon to come from Fayad. Check him out this summer. Exhibit, Weapons of Mass Destruction. His own album soon to come out as well.
All right, man. Thanks. Peace. Word.
Yeah, so we've interviewed before, man, and one of the most interesting things that came up was the evolution of hip-hop and where you fall into the game. I mean, why don't we start with that, and how when you came out and what you're doing with your sound, how that's changing hip-hop today.
Well, like I said before in the last interview, it's like, to me, there needs to be a maturation process with the music. The sound has evolved, but the artists have not evolved. Meaning, what someone said at 15 is what they're going to say at 25, is what they say at 30, is what they say at 35. I mean, with your life, with your responsibility, the way you approach your responsibilities and you approach the world changes from when you're 15 to 25 to 30 to 35.
True.
And if the things that you're saying do not change, what is that saying about your life? There has to be a way for us to bridge this gap between hip-hop and every other genre of music. Every other genre of music, you can come out when you 10 years old and do that same genre of music until you're 65 years old. Right. And say different things and express yourself in different ways, but it's almost as if we say, with this genre of music, you can't do that. Where you are is where you're always going to be. There will be no growth. There will be no evolution, and I want to make it so that there are people who want to listen to hip-hop, but if they're no longer talking about 15-year-old things, it turns them off from the music because all they hear is what a 15-year-old would be doing. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, to me, I want to be able to bring a different perspective to be like, okay, now we're a little bit older, now our priorities are a little bit different, but we still can relate to one another through this music, and we can still be up on who we are and what our community and even what society as a whole is doing as we grow, rather than staying stuck. You understand what I'm saying? Because to me, it's like that's the most important thing. Whether my artistry shines through or not, the number one thing that is stifling to me about hip hop is the fact that I can't listen to it anymore. You understand what I'm saying? It's like I grew up being a fan of this music, and I still am. But if I can't listen to it anymore, what's keeping me, a fan of it? Other than my affinity for it because I grew up with it. Right. It's like it's like being in a bad relationship. If you're in a relationship and that person don't want to grow, at a certain point you're gonna have to distance yourself from that relationship because you're not getting nothing out of it no more. Right. And I think that's what's happening with hip hop. It keeps losing its audience. So it's almost like the tobacco industry. It has to keep creating new users because it's killing off the other users. You understand what I'm saying? And so that's what hip-hop does. It kills off the people who grew up with it. It kills off those who want to be a part of it and says, okay, we'll just start back over from 15-year-olds rather than be something that can be, big throughout the whole spectrum of the genre, you know. So
yeah, I mean, so let's talk about that demographic of hip hop. Those people that grew up with hip hop, and now they're in their late 20s, they're in their 30s. You know, they're starting families. You know, they've got their thing. Their life has changed as far as like their lifestyle of hip hop.
yeah, no doubt. And the problem is to a certain extent, not only has hip hop failed to evolve, it has devolved. So it's almost like it's going in opposite directions. As the people who grew up with it are getting older and more mature and more wise, the music is getting dumber and more ignorant and more irrelevant. You understand what I'm saying? And with anything, if you choose to wallow in irrelevance, you will become irrelevant. You know, it's like, okay, yeah, we just want to be frivolous forever, but guess what? The world does not move on frivolity. At a certain point, either you get down with what's moving forward, or you get left behind, and that's what's going to happen to the music. It's with anything. It's nature.
Right.
Anything that refuses to grow will die.
Let's talk more about that frivolity and exactly what you mean by that. I mean, one example I remember you talking about was the difference in Luther Vandross and say you know, other R&B cats that are coming out now that are kind of not bringing it to that same level of I don't know, how do you put it?
Artist, yeah, exactly. It's like you can use your words. I mean, the beauty of the language is the fact that we are able to express ourselves and we're able to communicate. But if we only choose to communicate on the base level, there is no evolution. You understand what I'm saying? It's like, I don't speak like I spoke when I was 5 because I have acquired a higher vocabulary and a better way to express myself. And so if we choose to say, okay, we 15 and it's fun to try to bang as many girls as we can, that's all fine and dandy for 15. But as you get older, I hope you get a better, you know, idea of what a relationship between a man and a woman is supposed to be. Because if you think that, okay, I just like quote unquote fucking hoes or whatever, that's not what God designed a human relationship between a man and woman to be. That's an integral part, but that is not everything. And if you try to say, I'm only concerned with this and this is all that this relationship means, it's never going to grow. That's why when I said before, it's like you can be subtle and you can express your point, but you don't have to say it in the basest language available to you. You understand what I'm saying? It's like you can talk about infidelity, you can talk about love, you can talk about hurt, you can talk about any number of things, but if you always talk about them in a way that's the most base, you know, common level, where are you going with who you are? We might as well never go to school. Just the first language we learn, we should just stick with that. And you know, it's like if you get the basic grasp of the language, why learn anything else? If you're never going to grow up anything past that, why go past, say, the 3rd grade? By kindergarten, I could read before I got to kindergarten. By 3rd grade, I could read any newspaper. So I should have just stopped going to school in 3rd grade then. Because if I was never going to have to communicate on a level higher than a 3rd grade vocabulary or a 3rd grade understanding, why go any higher?
Well, let's talk about your background then, and you know, your evolution as a man yourself. And you know, I know you went to Morehouse, and you came out here to LA, and it seems like you know, you've been through all the things that are the nature of rap that you're talking about, that you're saying is not evolving. Don't let me put words in your mouth if I'm wrong. But yeah, let's talk about your background and where you came from to evolve to that point of what you're trying to say on the mic now.
Well, I mean, it's much like with anyone. I'm sure you can talk to anyone. I mean, even the person who might be on a record sounding the most ridiculous or the most ignorant, and if you sat and talked with them, they could tell you about things that they've gone through in their life and explain it to you. Well, hopefully they could explain it to you to a point where they've seen some things, done some things, and adjusted who they were because of those things. You know, I mean, it's like with anything. I mean, you have knowledge, which is okay, but wisdom is the application of knowledge. You know, if all you're going to do is attain a whole bunch of facts, it's like our school system today. It's indoctrination. It's here's the facts, learn them for this test you have in a week, then forget them. What's the point of a whole bunch of useless facts if you cannot use them? You understand what I'm saying? If you cannot apply them to your life. And what I'm saying is with growing up or evolution, however you want to say it, you go through experiences that help you grow. If you refuse to apply the knowledge that you've acquired, during your growth, you're not growing at all.
Right.
You're aging,
Cool.
but you're not growing. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of 90-year-old fools.
Right.
A lot of people be like, I'll hear them. Oh yeah, you know, you got to know something to survive that long. Yeah, you got to know survival, but you know, but you can survive. Human beings. I mean, the human spirit is the strongest thing there is. Right. So yes, you can survive. You can live through anything. But do you grow through what you've lived through?
Right.
You know,
and let's talk about that. Let's talk about, you know, your specific growing process as an artist. You know, you were going to college in Atlanta, correct? Mm-hmm. And then you came out here to LA, mm-hmm. and you were working here, mm-hmm. but you know you were struggling to get by, mm-hmm. despite the fact that you had a college degree, mm-hmm. and that kind of led you in the way to being a hustler.
Yeah, I mean, everyone. I mean, everyone's a hustler. I mean, if we want to use it in the broad term, if you going to class every day and you getting up at 7 o'clock in the morning and you trying to get grades, you know what I'm saying, like I did, to go to college on an academic scholarship, that's a hustle. The problem is we only associate that word with something that's either illegal or quote unquote street.
Oh,
you understand what I'm saying? But a person getting up, going to work. The strongest people I know in our community are the people who, in spite of their situation, get up every day and go to a 9-to-5 job they don't like. That's hard. Well, it's easy to go rob somebody.
Let me
it's hard to
then.
get up
and go
to
work.
Already
a hustler. You're already hustling, but you started hustling. On the street.
Yeah. Doing things that, you know, rather not really elaborate about, but doing things that I knew myself isn't what I had in store for myself or what God had in store for me.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? I mean, because you can get into a situation where you will stray and begin to rationalize your behavior. Well, I'm not making no paper. Everybody I know is making paper. You know what I'm saying? Let alone I can't kick it. I can't eat. Right. You know, forget having a beer. What's up with some food? Right. So then at that point, you start to feel sorry for yourself. And as soon as you feel, the most dangerous thing a human being can do is start to feel sorry for themselves. Because once they do, they'll start to rationalize all of their behavior based on the fact that, well, it wasn't given to me. I got to do what I got to do. You know what I'm saying? I got to feed my family. If you blaming some shit on feeding your family or on your situation, you copping out.
Right.
I mean, because it's like, if you travel the world, you'll see that the homeless person in America has it better than 90% of the people walking the face of this planet. If you ever travel the world, you'll see that. And so you'll realize, okay, yeah, you might be in a position where you don't have as much as others, but recognize you still live in America.
Right.
And you can do anything in this country.
Right.
As much as people want to tell you different, they full of shit. You can do anything here. The only thing that stops you is what's between this right here. If you choose not to develop what's between there, that's on you.
And where are some of the places that you've lived and been a part of where you can say that that's very true?
Where people can change their situations?
Well, no, like specifically here in LA where you've been.
Oh, well, I mean, you know, shit. I mean,
coming up with that mentality.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know, I used to live in hotels. I used to live over off 57th. I used to live over off Normandy in Washington. I mean, I lived in spots, but it's interesting. I lived in spots where people lived and said, okay, well, because I didn't grow up with a success model, and my parents didn't achieve, their grandparents didn't achieve, so it's pointless for me to even attempt to achieve. I've seen that, but never forget, at the same time, I also saw people who within that decided that wasn't for them, and they did, and they came, and they were creative, and they were innovative. The problem, and you know, I mean, I don't really want to get too socially deep,
right.
But to be quite honest, if we want to talk about my community, a lot of it changed and a lot of it began to devolve once segregation was abolished. Because what happened was you had the people who had the success model and had the desire and had the drive, who were living in the community, being there as an example, deciding, oh, because I've strived and I've learned and I've acquired, I want to go have these finer things and live with other people. So what happens is all the resources, the natural resources that we had as a community left nothing but those who didn't have or maybe when they started didn't want to achieve. And so then they had a kid who didn't want to achieve or whatever. But even within those who were left, you still have roses growing in concrete.
Oh, sure.
You understand? So it's not that so it's not like it can't happen, but when it's just like the raping of Africa. When you take every last resource out of it, and then you take everything from it, and then tell them survive or tell them flourish. It's like, well, you took all the resources that I had access to flourish, and you've snatched those from me. So I understand it's a double-edged sword, but understand, even with that fact, the problem is you got to broaden your worldview, because if you see yourself in perspective to the rest of the world, not just the person living next door to you, you'll have a better understanding of who you are.
Absolutely.
And when you have an understanding of who you are, you can change who you are.
Absolutely. Self-actualization is
exactly. Is the key to life.
Yeah.
If the whole purpose of life is to be self-actualized. That is the whole point. If you aren't striving to reach that level, you're missing the potential of life.
A good idea of your philosophies, life philosophies, and what you put into your music. Let's talk more about your music and what else you put into your music. Let's talk about you mentioned earlier relationships with women, and being a grown man, and getting over or evolving into something else that you feel is important to put out there for other people that are going through a similar experience.
All right, now like I said with this first album I put it out because I wanted to start from a level that everybody could relate to. So I put it out on a physical level. Especially we have this pervasive atmosphere, or like it seems like the whole hip hop community is you can just tell by the way you look at it. It's about material and physical things. It's about having the naked girl in the video, having the money, having the cars, having the houses. Okay, so if that's what everybody's stuck on, I can't come out trying to talk to you about metaphysical things if you're still in a fog, if you still can't see past the physical facade that's in front of you. It's pointless for me to talk to you on another level. But if I come in and relate to you and show you how I relate to you, so that when you listen, you don't listen to me trying to speak above you or even speak to you, but speak with you. Pete, the fastest way you turn someone off is by preaching to them. But if you tell them, look, I understand you, I am you, I can relate to what you've gone through, I've been through it, but let me show you how it is, show you how I relate to you, but then at that point start saying, okay, now that we've done those things, there's something else out there for us. So let's go ahead and start exploring some of those other things. It's just like it's like children growing up. Every child will raise his level to what is expected of him. If you come home and you're expected to do your homework, you're expected to have these things done, you'll do those things.
Right.
Much like in my relationships, what I'm talking about on my album. It starts off very frivolous, talks about very physical things, but it also shows that there was more that as I've grown up, more that's been expected of me, with my relationships and with the way that I deal with people. I mean, there's so much misogyny going on in our music and our culture right now, and it's bigger than just the black community. It's a American thing. Sexism is the American way.
Right.
Even bigger than racism, sexism is more American than apple pie.
Whoa.
It is. We will never get anywhere in society until we get rid of the objectification of 55% of the society. You understand what I'm saying? People talk about, I love my mama or I love my sister, I protect her, but you going out, you raping somebody else, you calling women hoes and bitches. It's like you can't rationalize it too. It's like saying you love kids but selling drugs to kids. You can't do the two. You can't serve two masters. You know what I'm saying? You can't serve God and the devil. You just can't do it.
Right.
Somebody got to be that master. You understand what I'm saying? You just can't do both. As much as we try, and that's what I try to show in my music. I try to show that, look, here I am trying to balance the two, but at the end, guess what? I have to admit, you just can't do it. You either serve one or you serve the other.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? And we live in a society built on manipulation and on, people basically, taking advantage. Capitalism is a cutthroat, take advantage, get the drop on them before they get the drop on you type of existence. It works, and it's been working, but it's cannibalism. Eventually, it's gonna eat its own, and once it has no more of its own to eat, it will eat itself. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's like, so I try to show that You can try to strike a balance. It just don't work.
Okay.
You know, you can walk that tightrope, but you'll fall every time.
So what's your solution?
My solution is to recognize that that's the way it is. Once you recognize that something is the way it is, then at that point you can deal with it. I know that I can't do one or the other. So what I do is I strive within my human frailty to do whatever I can do and not cop out like because somebody else did it, I'm gonna run with them. Well, my man said F it, I'm gonna run with him. At a certain point, individual accountability is the only thing that will save your soul.
Oh, wow.
Because if you try, you know, if you run behind what someone else is doing, you know, you just stamped your ticket.
Yeah,
you understand what I'm saying? Me perform. Me on record is completely different than what you see on stage. And I'm doing the same song. The message conveyed and the image conveyed is completely different on stage because I want to show that there is a totality in the complexity of human life.
Right.
You don't have to be just this. I don't have to be thug on a record, then thug on the stage, then thug in the camera. It's like my life is much more evolved. Where I know I have, I'm saying, because you're probably gonna be sitting. I'm an artist. I don't do the freestyle. I don't do all that. What I do is I work with my word. The most valuable thing you got in your life is your word. If you have nothing in life but your word, you are a rich man. Problem is we got a whole bunch of rich fools walking around with a bunch of monetary wealth, but nothing else that gives them any wealth. You can have riches, but wealth is something completely different than what money can get you.
What's wealth?
Wealth is the things that you can take with you when you're no longer here, which are your experiences and your principles and your word. Before there was anything, if you believe in the Bible, it says in the beginning was the Word. And the Word was God, and the Word was with God. And if it says we're created in His image, what is the most important thing that we have? If the most important thing He has is His Word, the most important thing we have is our word. That's why I use my word very, very seriously, and I don't just throw them around into the universe haphazardly. That's the one thing you'll never see me doing is just running off at the mouth. And you might hear me using a bunch of words. You might think I'm running off at the mouth, but I'm very calculated in the words that I'm saying. I'm not reckless with the words I use. That's one thing no matter give or take, like, dislike, love, hate, you'll always know His word was bond. And that's real.
So you talked about you were talking about religion and God and your metaphysical stances and stuff like that. Is God important to your music? The church? Jesus?
Religion is not important. Spirituality is important. There's been more wrong and more sin and more evil done in the name of religion than maybe anything else that's ever, because what religion is, it's a unifying force. And when you can unify people and you have that big of an influence and you put men in charge of that much power, corruption always seeps in. It just does. You cannot corrupt God. You can corrupt religion, and you can corrupt men. They're the most easily corrupted thing there is a man.
Right.
Even more so than women. A man is easily corrupted, but you cannot corrupt God. And so what I do with who I am, and even more so than my music, I don't make religious music. My music is very, very earthly. It's very, very quote unquote secular. But if you merely concentrate on the words that I'm using, you will miss the point of what I'm saying. Listen to what I mean. Don't use what I say. That's like I can sit up here and say, man, that's bad. And you could be like, who said it was bad? But if you know the meaning I'm using, you know I meant it as good. So don't get caught up in the connotation. Don't get caught up in the denotation of my words. It's the connotation of what I'm talking about. It's understand. And I think we've gotten in this society into an age of cynicism where we want to pin and judge every person on every single thing that they do, on every action, because the media and the digital technology and the digital age is that information is so fast. I mean, you can create or destroy a person's career in a blink of an eye, because you can soundbite, you can clip, and you can cut, and you can do things that will put a person in a bad light. For example, a friend of mine's mother worked for a news corporation in Minneapolis. They were doing a story on house cleaners, on people who cleaned up apartment buildings and like business buildings. And when the thing went to air, it showed this woman cleaning up this office and stealing a watch and putting it in her pocket and leaving. Come to find out, talking to my boy's mom, that's not what happened at all. She was cleaning, a napkin dropped, she picked it up, put it in her pocket, but there was a watch which she picked up and put into the drawer. They cut and sliced the film so that it looked like she stole that watch. You understand how when you have the digital age that involved, you can manipulate reality and you can manipulate information. It's just like, like I was saying with Congress, passing these laws about having monopolies with our information. We'll be in a state of yellow journalism and propaganda immediately. And then you'll get exactly what you want. If you want this to be said, if you want to say all rappers ain't nothing but thugs and ain't nothing but villains, you can say it. You know what? Because you can find something and say that I'm a thug and I'm a villain. Do you understand what I'm saying? And it's like, and to me, it's like, we got to be real careful with our words. They're powerful because people will take those words and they can switch them and use them against you and make you cut your whole life. You understand what I'm saying?
All right. See, I guess let's wrap it up and let's let me ask you. I know you have more to say, so I can't ask you that question.
Yeah,
But what do you think is the most important thing? If you could say, one statement to everybody out there, something maybe you haven't touched on yet, or maybe something to wrap it all up.
If I could say one thing just to people out there, schools were created for children. They create these big buildings. No matter how much information is in them or how much you think there's a lack of information inside that building, they were built for you. Get in there. Get in there and take every last bit of that information that's been put there for you. Get in there and take it. Because you know what? They might not be there forever. If you look at legislation that's coming, you might not have that. They take the school away, where you going to go? Within 50 years, we could be right back where we started in this country. Get your ass in school and take every last bit of information you can get out of there. That's what I got to say.
Speaking of people bringing knowledge to the table, why don't you tell me one last thing, or if you could, about Knoxville Records?
Knoxville Records is dedicated to what I call innovation through retrospection. Meaning, look at all the things that we've done, not only as our subset community, but as the society as a whole, which have been positive and constructive and can help change and can help move and can help, things flourish and help you evolve. That's what we want to take, and we want to add that to our sound. Not just our words, but even in the way that we make music, in the way that music hits you, in the vibe that you get from that. We want to take all the things that we have in this vast box of all the things that we've learned. We want to take those things and we want to apply that. We want to make wisdom music, not knowledge music. That's it.
Thank you.
No doubt.
All right. 45. All right, Toy. So, I guess you're interviewing me.
Something like that.
Let me ask you, first things first, what does Knoxville Records meant to you, and what does it mean to you?
Knoxville Records means, it means a lot to me because they helped me to get into the studio and make my project final. I've been writing music for a long, long time, but I didn't spend a whole lot of time in the studio and getting my music down, and they helped me to do that and got me shows and kind of showed me the business side of things when it comes to making music, because it's hard as an artist because all you want to do is really write and make music, and somebody else has to come in and help you with the business side of things. So they helped me with the business side of things, and it's cool because we all know each other and we're all friends, and it's like a family unit, so it's peaceful. It's good.
Wonderful. Let's talk about your music, and how are you changing music today?
I feel like my music is pretty innovative. It comes from a lot of different places inside of me. It comes from a lot of different types of music, and I try to combine all those things together. I hope that it'll open people's minds on all levels,
Okay.
spiritual, mental, physical.
What types of music are you bringing together exactly?
I'm really into like alternative rock and punk and indigenous music, whether it be African or Asian or Indian. I like alternative hip hop. I like old school soul music. So I kind of bring all of those things together. I like trip hop. So a little bit of that, a little bit of everything.
Cool. All right, well, I guess is there anything else that you'd like to say to all those people out there? Take a look in the camera.
I want to change the world through music.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
So let's start first things first. If you could tell me what Knoxville Records means to you and how it's changed your life.
For me, Knoxville Records has been like something I've seen grow from the budding, you know what I'm saying? So for me, it's like, it's really gratifying to see it grow to like such a great height already. And I know how much potential like lies in this group, so it's just like, you know what I'm saying? Something that's just waiting to happen. When we get our moment, we're gonna definitely shine, you know?
So let's talk about you now as an artist. How exactly are you changing music today?
I would say I'm changing music today because I have like a wide variety of topics that I cover. You know what I'm saying? And I approach them all differently, and I give a moral to each rhyme, depending on what it's about in each story, you know what I'm saying? And it all really gives all the music a different approach, like from really laid back, almost lounge music to like, you know what I'm saying, real raw hip hop. So it's like just a wide variety, you know what I mean? I grew up in both cities, Los Angeles and New York, so it's like I got a cool little flavor from both, you know what I'm saying, from both places. So I think people are going to feel it.
Let me ask you this, like when it's all said and done and, the history books are written in hip-hop, how do you want to be remembered?
Just want to be remembered as somebody who definitely held his own, who helped other people get in the business, you know what I'm saying? Use my resources for the good of my people, number one, but just, you know what I'm saying, just to better the whole world, period. If anything, I want to be known as somebody who set a message and helped to change people's views on the bullshit.
Okay, cool. Now, it's one thing that I'm going to do right now is kind of a bit, just off the cuff. One thing I know about you is that you freestyle and fool, like, you're just clowning with that shit constantly.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
If I get you to take this mic out of my hand and look in that camera and spit a few links, that'd be hot.
Yeah, I got that. Check it out. Whether shorty is celibate, sexual is irrelevant. Came over here with revelations to revel men. I speak and unravel the gin to the Dutch. Everything that I touch turns gold, Corona Deluxe. I'm known for the plush, I'm known for the rush that life gives a nigga who's living it on edge of the knife. So please don't come with the basic flow. Fargo, displace those, leave these assholes, place it. In placement, I move adjacent to those in my team. So stop with your dreams or whatever it seems that you should be chasing. Cause me and my niggas will cut you up like Jason. West Coast to the east, what you're facing. I got so much brolic rhyme style. Stop chasing. I try to mimic, cause no one replaces. There's no replacement. I'm out, yo. Face this. Damiano leave you faceless.
Yo, word. Straight. That's Damiano, man, coming to you live right now. Peace.
One love, yo.
What's up, Chuck? How you doing today, man?
Good, man. How you been?
Pretty good, man. I guess let you know, let's just start it off right now, and let me just ask you what Knoxville Records means to you.
Knoxville, it means basically for opportunity, you know, for artists, you know, as well as friends that we have to be a chance to be heard, you know.
Okay, cool. Why don't you tell me a little bit about what you're doing with Knoxville and exactly you know what you're doing as far as you know music and how you're changing the music game now. What is it that makes your music so special? Your production.
My production, basically the harmonies as well. You know, I do hooks and sing. That's why I think that the combination of the real playing and music as well as the harmony.
Cool, cool. So I mean, you know, what's your goals for the near future as far as your hopes and dreams, what you want to accomplish, what you're gonna make happen the next few years?
Change the game, man. You know, get some hits on the radio.
Word.
You know,
Who's it you'd really like to work with right now?
Everybody, man.
Oh, right.
Everybody,
Who's it
basically.
you really admire and really like kind of having an influence on you and your style, if anybody?
Let's say now probably like DJ Quick, Dr. Dre.
Oh, word?
Yeah.
Word. All right, man, is there anything else you'd like to say to other people out there before it's all said and done?
Peace.
And there you have it. All right, straight to you live. Check.
For sure.
Cool. Peace, man. Nice.
Thank you.
Cool. Cool. Coming to you straight now from Knoxville Studios. I want you to introduce yourself and please tell me what Knoxville means to you.
How you doing? What's up? My name is Said Twice. MC, actor extraordinaire. Stay on the grind, you know. Knoxville is it's a creative environment where there's a lot of things going on, collaborative efforts, all pushing with the same goal to accomplish one thing, and it's, you know, successful art and a positive and a growing and flowing situation.
Can you tell me a little bit more about your style as an artist and exactly what it is you're doing?
Well, as far as my style, I don't really necessarily have a, you know, say my style. Could actually, you know, say my style is this or my style is that. But I originally started in music in '93. I signed my first deal with a group called Another Level. It's executive produced by Ice Cube. Had Farsight on the album. Since then, I've released some independent records with my man Booty Brown, Chapter 1 from Farsight, overseas, here and there. Studied, you know, the Meisner technique theatrically, done a few national commercials, voiceover radio, independent films, and completing a solo album, and also doing a collaborative effort with my man Ritz. And me and Nicole, actually, the founder with the Knoxville, we actually did our first work in the acting field. We did like a print job together. So we got a little history going on here, and you know, that's pretty much what's going on right now.
Let me ask you about the future and what's going to be happening with you over the next couple of years or next few months. What should we be looking out for to see your face and see what you're doing?
I've got a deal going. I need to turn in an album for like ASAP with 456 Entertainment, which is a company that's affiliated with Carson Daly's. I'm working with a guy, Matty C, who's well respected. So I'm looking to put out a single or something very, very soon, album. There's always auditions, films, and things like that. So just a bunch of things that, you know, it's pretty much unknown, just planting seeds, and whichever one pops up from there to cultivate it and take it to the next level.
Cool. Is there a message or anything you want to put out there to everybody that's going to be seeing this? Something you'd like to say to them?
Follow your heart, stay true to what you believe, and the steps will appear.
All right.
Okay.
Word.
All right.
There you have it. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Cool. Honor and a privilege right now to interview my girl Nicole, the world famous, the one and only.
How you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good.
I'm good, Sean. I'm good. Just trying to make this session happen, you know?
All right, why don't we just run right into it then, and you tell me a bit about Knoxville Records, exactly what you're doing over there and everything like that.
Okay. Knoxville Records is an independent record label in Los Angeles. We started it. I have two partners, Julie and 45 Hassan and Max Linfesti. And we have 45 on the label. We have an artist, Raja, alternative artist, and then we have a production company, Alchemy Eye, who's a production team, Ramon Colson, Deontay Lashy. So we make beats and we make music, and we try to put it out there best we can. We have distribution through City Hall Records, Walter Zelnick. So we have like 38 reps worldwide to put our music out. And right now we've just been focusing on a lot of shows, festivals, concerts, LA, and getting ready for a West Coast tour.
All right, cool. So big things coming down the pipe. Let's just talk one more thing. Exactly, what are the hopes and dreams, aspirations in Knoxville Records?
Hopes and dreams would be to allow the artists to remain artists and do what they do, and hopefully have a major label see that and respect that and want to pick us up so that we can, have the best marketing and promotions and distributions just like everybody else does, so that our music can be heard throughout the world,
Word. All right. Louder voice soon to come from Knoxville Records. Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you, Sean.
All right, coming up.
I'm gonna scream and holler till they hear the sound. I'm gonna make it rain till the sky fall down. I'm gonna sing it loud till they gather round, gather round. I'm gonna take it to the top of the mountain. I'm gonna do it like it's never been done before. They try to show it, but they know they can't prove it. Wrap it tight and send it shore to shore. Oh no, oh no, don't wanna feel it. Oh no, oh no, oh no. I'm gonna give it up, don't wanna give it out. I wanna give it up, don't wanna give it out. I wanna give it up, don't wanna give it out. Give it out. Wanna give it up, don't wanna give it out. I wanna give it up, give it out. I wanna give it up, don't wanna give it out. Give it out. I'm gonna take it to the top of the mountain. I'm gonna do it like it's never been done before. I wanna show it 'cause I really